heard about the war that has been taking place in Inglis, Florida for the better part of 2 decades? Irene and I are here on the Withlacoochee River to tell you about the fight to restore the lower section river ecosystem. Stay tuned as we speak directly to the president of the nonprofit organization and find out how you can join us to support this endeavor. I'm Ruth Squires, and this is Irene Snelgrove with RES Luxury Group of eXp Realty.
Hi, this is Irene Snelgrove with eXp Realty, RES Luxury Group. This is Ruth Squires, and we have Dan Hilliard with the Withlacoochee Aquatic Restoration Program, and we're just going to be talking to him a little bit about what this program is and what we can do to help. So, just to get us started, can you explain a little bit about what WAR stands for, Withlacoochee Aquatic Restoration Program?
Withlacoochee Aquatic Restoration is a fictitious name for the corporate identity of WAR Inc., if you will, and it's an organization based in Inglis. We've been here since 1984. The organization is responsible for designation of the lower Withlacoochee River segment as outstanding Florida waterways. It is the lifeblood of the community. It came to our attention in recent years. The river was not doing as well as it used to. The apex predators were gone. And no otters, no gators, shoreline birds. It all left town. And though we've had many other contests over time, this one was probably the most important that we've ever looked at. And it's been very educational, time consuming. We spent 8 years actively engaged in this with the collaboration of the Southwest Florida Water Management District and Florida Department of Environmental Protection. We got it done. We found out what the problem is, and now we've got to figure out how to get the cure in place.
Okay. So, what if you could just tell us a little bit about the flows and what that cure would do, the natural cure, and what inspired you to get so involved in it?
Well, first off, I'll do this backwards. What inspired me is water has been a major part of my life in Florida. I've lived in this state most of my life in various places, from the Keys up to north of Jacksonville, a little town called Hilliard, oddly enough, and have family all over the state. I've seen most of the state's waters. It's very much a part of my life, and it was a part of everyone, the life of my peers, if you will. It was aesthetics, it was recreation, and at one time it was all about the dollars. I spent time as a treasure coast over on the Gold Coast, or treasure diver, I'm sorry, on the Gold Coast. I was a commercial fisherman for a time in Brevard County, and actually made twice as much money catching fish as I did as a pilot.
Wow.
You can't catch a cold over there anymore because the waters of the state are very, very largely, in the neighborhood of 85%, are impaired for various reasons. The lower Withlacoochee is no different. And the problem is when they built the barge canal, they bisected the river channel. We don't get enough flow to scour sediments from the river, and it is basically filling up with mud.
So something man-made that we created has interfered with the natural process of...
This is one of Lyndon Johnson's great ideas that just didn't get traction. And yes, they took a vibrant and productive river that survived impoundment of Lake Russo back in the very early 1900s, but all of the flow was directed and discharged to this segment of the river. It kept the bottom clean. We had aquatic vegetation, which no longer exists. It is basically filling up with mud. There's a lot of chemicals flowing downstream, and I'm somewhat lighthearted. I'll tell you, if you have a heart condition, there's 2 chemicals identified here that will help you with that. if you have a headache, there's a lot of acetaminophen in the water. I could go on, but I think you get the point.
Right.
And we got into the study. We found out what the bottom line cause is. We're not getting the high volume scouring flows that we used to. It's on the face of it, it's a very simple problem. It needs a relatively simple fix, and that's to reconnect the flows. I'm not saying reconnect the river, but reconnect or restore the peak flows. There's several ways to do that.
Okay, so that's what you're trying to do is...
Yes.
Okay.
And it sounds like this is not theories and beliefs. You've done some very involved research
This
and
is
studies.
all science-based, every bit of it. It has nothing to do with opinion.
And that's something that if people are interested in seeing those reports, they're on the website, correct?
They are on our website. They're presented in two styles. One of is an individual link for each phase of the report, phase 1, 2, and 3. And the fourth item has all 192 pages, and you can take that and do what you will with it. But yes, it's on the front of our homepage.
Okay. What is that homepage? What is that website?
It's one word is War Inc. online at WARINC online.com,
Okay.
and that will get you there. There's newsletters and times gone by. There's a great deal of information there. Truthfully, it'll take some time to sort through it, even if you don't read the report.
So just sitting here on the river, I'm hearing a lot of wildlife. I'm hearing fish jumping and, neat little sounds behind us. Is this something that if this continues, eventually we're not going to be able to enjoy that or hear any of that?
Ultimately, that's correct. There are some fish in the lower river. Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission does population checks from time to time. More recently, they discovered an invasive species fish, some style of a catfish style creature that's living here that didn't used to. But there's no good end in sight if we don't change the way we're managing the river and administering the flows. I have pictures, very old pictures, if you will, of people that used to fish down in the Yankeetown area. Old men from back around the turn of the previous century, standing there in black and white with dozens of grouper or other fish on the rack down by what is one of the restaurants that's waterfront down there. This is an economic imperative. You restore the river, these things will come back. In the years that ensued during data or sample collection for this, they spent 2 years on a monthly cycle on this river, and they spent another year of quarterly cycles, plus they did a take on the barge canal. They never saw a fisherman on this river in the time that they were here, not once. The reason? There's not enough fish to make it worth the effort, and particularly not of the style that people want to catch. We do have mullet on occasion. You'll see the odd porpoise here now and then, and a manatee now and then. They don't stay very long. But 20 years ago, the river was infested with bass, bluegill, porpoise, mullet, gators, you name it. It was alive back then. Even if it was on decline, it was still alive. Those things are all gone.
Wow. And if we don't make a change, you're just saying like in a couple generations from us, this will be a non-existent beauty.
It'll be nothing more than a discharge path for waters from upstream, and nothing more at all.
So soon from now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's pretty close to that right now. It is. I think as a people, we're better than that. We know what the problem is. We know how to fix it. We need to get it done. And the scale of the cost compared to other ongoing projects in the state, it will be relatively cheap, but the return on investment will be enormous. And I'm talking economic return. We had a number of boats at one time moored down in Inglis and Yankeetown that were shrimpers. And they're either all gone or all locked up. There was a big fish house there that's shut down. There's several bait and tackle shops in town. We used to manufacture boats down in Crystal River. That's gone. These things are disappearing. With it goes jobs and positive economic activity.
So what's the problem? It sounds like you've got the solution, you've got community support, you've got an organization that's handling this.
One of the problems that we've had is a lack of response from all of the regulators and politicians that this information has been provided to. And I don't know if they're afraid to get in the water or not, but they simply have not responded. Most recently, in May, the Levy County Commission adopted and approved unanimously a resolution urging the state and the federal government to move forward on this. Citrus County will address this tomorrow at their commission meeting, and I expect the same response. This is it's a one step at a time thing. It's not something for people that are impatient to engage in. After all, it took us 50 years to make a mess out of it. It might take a couple more to get it fixed. Just being hypothetical there. What else can I do for you?
Well, the question is, what can we do for you? What can we, how can we support this? How can we ask all the people we have, many people that we work with and we know that are passionate about the river. So.
I think the very simple thing to do is to contact your state and federal representatives and urge them to take action on this. And I care not what party they're affiliated with. We're all in the same ship here. And this is an element of, could be an element for our well-being. Right now, it's not. We used to have kids swimming in the river. They don't do it anymore. They'd swim with the gators. They didn't care, but now they don't. And the reason is because it's such a mess. It was caused by politics. It can be remedied by politics. If I win the Powerball, maybe I'll fix it myself.
So there needs to be a strong outcry.
Yes, there's a very, very strong message of support from the public would be immensely helpful. It really would.
Okay.
What about funds needed? Can you talk about funding?
Well, funding is interesting. The one thing that we have hanging in the wind right now, we're trying to raise funds either through grants or whatever to retain an engineering firm that can make an intelligent, scientific-based, rational recommendation on the most effective and perhaps cheapest way to restore these peak flows that we need down here. I mentioned earlier that there's several ways to do it. There's quite a few, and they range from closing off the barge canal entirely and directing all the flows down here and watching these docks and everything tear away and drift downstream when we have a hurricane come through because of high flows.
Wouldn't have happy residents.
Or given the state regulators the opportunity to govern how much flow we get and when we get it. We have to go above a threshold that's about 1,000 cubic foot per second more than what we get right now to affect scouring the bottoms. It's a lot of water. The bypass canal does not have the flow volume capacity to do that no matter what they do. They could they could knock the spillway down, and it still wouldn't flow a whole lot more than it does. So we're trying to move forward with that with the engineering evaluation. I'm not sure what that's going to cost at this time. I've heard figures in the $75,000 to $100,000 range. I'm not sure that that's perfectly correct, but it's a number. And that would be something that would soothe the minds of politicians, I think. Instead of just saying, well, we need to fix this, they would have they'd have a menu of options on how to fix it. And I mentioned closing off the barge canal. Well, that's going to make a lot of people angry in one part, because some of the people upstream in the upper segment of the lower river have sailboats. If we block that off, they're not going to be able to get under the US 19 bridge with their sailboats. It is a federal navigable waterway. So that probably is not going to happen, at least not in the simple context. I've talked to people in the water district about using very, very large PVC pipes to make basically a siphon out of the lake. If you put 5 4-foot diameter pipes together, they could do that. And where you do it, just how you plumb it all up, it's not my expertise. My expertise is telling pilots where to go. So.
Is there a place where somebody could donate, or somebody could become a part of the organization, or even sign a petition? Is there anywhere that we can go to kind of collectively pool our efforts instead of individually going to the state or whatever?
Well, you can access for contributions or donations, if you will, or membership. That's available via our website.
Okay, perfect.
And what was the other point?
Petitions.
A
A petition.
or anything
That's something that we have not pursued at this point. It's not a bad idea at all. I'll have to go back and study and see how we do that.
Okay, well, just let us know. We'll try and support you in that as well.
Okay.
So one of the things that we would like to do as a group is start bringing some funds to you. We're really in support of this. We enjoy the water. We do. That's our kind of our. Both of us enjoy to go out on boats and kayaks and sea-doos and all that. So we definitely care about supporting this program, and we'd like to actually ask our community, if you will, our family of our organization, to contribute with us. So what we've decided is, if we can get a certain level of contribution from our friends and family, then we will match up to $2,500. So we're hopeful that we'll have other people inspired to say, we need to get involved in this, and you'll get more through it. And
that sounds like we could fund a good petition drive with that. So thank you for the idea.
Absolutely. I'm also thinking, as listening to you, we need to get our fellow realtors involved in this.
Right.
We benefit greatly from,
Yes, you do.
the work that we do out here with selling the homes and development. And so I think every realtor that's in business should be supporting this.
The question, how much is waterfront worth compared to living back in the sticks? And I don't know that there's a firm figure for that, but it's quite a bit. And the question is, if you have water that is impaired versus water that is not, how much more is the not part worth? And it's a lot. People like water. Water is big business in a lot of regards. There's a multitude of reasons, ranging from logical, objective perspectives to pure emotion. Most fun I ever had in my life, probably hanging 10 on a surfboard. I used to dive. I used to fish until our waters got muddied up, and I don't know where I can catch a fish anymore. So I don't pursue that a lot. But it's contrary to what some of the politicians may think. This is our state, and I think we should demand the highest level of engagement for maintaining the resource. It is what made Florida famous.
Right.
Yep.
I agree.
Well, thank you very much for sharing with us, Dan, and for all your work.
Thank you. I do appreciate
Appreciate
your
you.
contribution and your interest.
We appreciate everything that you've done. Thank you so much.